Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order at 5:59. Roll call, please.
Chairman Bonaghy.
Here.
Vice Chair Dawson.
Here.
Secretary Sienna. Here. Judy Bannon.
Present.
Carolyn Candelora.
Here.
Victoria Lanza.
Here.
Marcy Nafrio.
Here. Pledge, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is the budget workshop, our second workshop. And it's the superintendent's 26, 27 budget and capital request. Discussion and possible action.
Okay, so after last meeting, a number of questions came in that were answered by Martha Vaughn. We've included those in the packet if you want to take a look at those. If there's any follow-up questions, I think there were 13 questions that came through that Martha answered prior to the weekend last week. That being said, are there any other specific questions from the last meeting? We're going to go through a PowerPoint. We're going to answer and give you some handouts from some of your feedback and requests last week. But is there anything off of this or any questions before we get into that?
I have a couple questions off of this, if that's okay.
Sure.
Just
Off of what?
Understand, off
Off of this?
Yes.
Okay.
So, let's see, for 230, where it says 401A pension contribution, 403 Omni TSA contribution, those three, they all seem the same to me. Are they, and what does that mean?
So the 401A is the pension plan for employees who do not participate in TRB,
Okay,
okay? The 403B is a way for any employee to do a contribution to a retirement account. The 403B correlates to the code in the IRS guidelines.
gotcha, okay.
Some people call it a tax sheltered annuity or TSA. And then the 457 is yet another retirement vehicle. It has a little bit different pros and cons based on an individual's preference. And there are several groups who can contribute to that if they so choose. So if you have a non-certified person, they very well could contribute to all three of those. Your certified staff can only contribute to the 403 or the 457.
Okay, thank you. The other one I was looking at is, for 330, Judy had asked if there was a difference between professional development and EMT training. So training. So I have two questions on this, and maybe I should know this, I'm sorry, but I don't know what EMP is.
Employee. It's just an abbreviation.
Okay, thank you. And then, and if there's no difference, then why are there several lines for each? What is each?
So if you look at our account structure, there's different lines for different locations, so buildings,
Right.
or different programs. So there might be professional development lines for our nursing staff. And if you see a program number of 02130, that tells me that it's nursing. Anything related to 2610 is facilities. So that would be where, John or his department would take professional development and maybe, new techniques or safety things. 01000 is general instruction. So that could be used at any of the schools for anything, or there might be something coded specifically to 1060, which is specifically professional development for math. So depending, that's why you see a whole myriad of lines, because the State Department of Ed requires us to code everything very specifically. So that's why there's all the different locations, all the different programs.
Okay, thank you. And then, can I keep going? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is why we're here.
Okay. For 443,
Yep.
and when you had explained in the explanation, it says, those that are used mainly by office personnel are coded to 02510. And then when I was looking at the paperwork, is it that or 02490?
So 2510 is my department, and I probably forgot to put the 0249, which is administrative.
Okay.
So if you look at the budget, you'll see all of, the buildings have a 2490.
Yes.
So those are the machines in the main offices. And then 1000s can be found throughout the building, because those are, the majority of the work done there is by the teaching staff. So it's general instruction. So we even break up the copiers between if they're instructional use or if they're used by our,
Yes, I did see that, okay.
by our office or administrator staff.
Okay, this is how it's. Let's see. Folders, oh, it's for the, a few students attend, sorry, 560. You had said a few students attend the Wintergreen Magnet School.
Yes, the question was specifically what the tuition ECS magnet line was for at Totucket.
Right.
So that specifically is, this year, we had a few students that attended the Wintergreen Magnet School, and we needed to pay tuition for those students.
And do we know how many students are there? Joe?
I think one, we have currently 5th grade moving up to 6th grade this year.
That's it for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other
So
questions?
that, just so that number that's in the budget would, you said a 5th grader moving on to 6th grade, right? Okay. So they're going to go to either the middle school or continue on at Wintergreen next year, but not in your budget.
Correct.
Do we allocate for a certain amount for next year? Or?
If I wasn't aware that the student was in the last grade for Totucket, then there might be an allocation there for next year. But at any time, a student could decide to, choose to go elsewhere to a magnet school.
So you just basically budget for what the actual number.
Right, status quo means you
Right.
budget for
Right.
Okay.
what's there, so.
Excellent, thank you.
And the only reason I questioned that was because I read ECA only and didn't consider the larger picture. And I knew ECA wasn't for younger students. So that was where that question came from.
Gotcha.
I didn't even realize that we had a Wintergreen student, so.
Got it. No, I appreciate the questions too. Yeah.
Okay, that being said, we'll move on to the grant sheet. We should have that next. Yellow band across the top. State and federal grants. I believe there are 13. Yeah, 13. So the awarded period is there by date, what the grant is for, the balance, how much is encumbered, what we spent year to date, and then the purpose for the grant. So if you want to take a minute and look at those.
So the grants that are expiring at the end of June 2026 will those be something that have to be reapplied for?
The Family Resource Center will be applied for again. I'm sure the Smart Start will be. And the rest of them are what we call entitlement grants, so we will
You'll
get
just get
those.
those, okay.
If any administrator wants to comment, that's here. If it's a grant specifically to your department, feel free.
My question on like the entitlement grants on the federal level, do we have any idea if those will continue on?
Idea grants, those. Okay.
Have we heard anything about, so I was trying to read online today to teach myself about magnet schools because I realized I didn't know much about that. And when I was looking up the ECS numbers and things of that nature, I think that I saw that there was a suggestion in the governor's budget or moving forward that there may be some decreases for magnet schools and that the sending districts would be asked to pay more tuition. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not.
You haven't? Okay.
I thought they level funded the ECS.
They did the ECS,
They
but this
level-
was a separate for magnet
For magnet
schools.
schools.
It was, now I'm going to forget the number.
I'll look into that.
Oh, a decrease of $12 million overall, not for
Overall,
us.
right,
But,
right.
and it did say they were going to recommend that the sending districts paid more.
Right.
So I'd just be concerned about us knowing that moving forward if and when we can.
Yeah. And we don't have that many students that
Right,
are attending group, which is
yep.
less than past practice. All right, if you want, you can obviously take time to look at these and send any specific questions in. The next page is the financial savings, cost containment, operational improvements for efficiencies. So we can go through those. I think those are important. Martha, just if you want to chime in as I go through,
Yeah.
I'm not going to read them. But under insurance, benefits, and healthcare, obviously we transition to Medicare, retiree to Medicare, savings of $2,800 per month or $34,400 for the year 26. New life insurance vendor, 26.98 reduction. Those are the biggest cost savings. Buyout language contractually sunset for the union contracts was a savings for us. New workers' comp insurance carrier, saving almost $40,000 for 24-25 and $6,000 for 25-26. We're doing as much as we can to monitor and reduce our number of worker comp claims. Transportation and fuel management. Martha has been purchasing oil and gas from Texas and has saved significantly versus the consortium, correct?
Yeah, and then the new vendor that we're using doesn't require us to pay for fuel that we don't use, which a few years ago during COVID was awful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can tell that there's oil in this tank here and it's working. Is anyone else warm?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it would be cold tonight because the last time I was like, well, maybe it'll be cold.
Comfortable tonight.
There's always one in the car.
I'm happy.
That's all right, that's good. DATCO, we've met with DATCO, and we're looking at total number of buses, our bus runs, numbers of buses that we currently have for the student population that's riding buses, and Tom's been working his magic on the computer and kind of looking at potential savings if we can. They were very positive when we met with them. They understand They're one of the largest carriers in Connecticut, so we're not the only town that's struggling right now. We had a meeting yesterday with another adult ed provider. I'm not really going to go into too much with that. We're just shopping and looking at other potential savings for our mandated statutory programs that we have to run through adult education. We had a very positive meeting yesterday. Facilities, energy, and utilities. We didn't put a number down for solar because we're not opening up that can of worms.
Can I go back to DATCO for just a second?
Sure.
Bus monitors, are they on our payroll or DATCO's payroll?
Ours.
The monitors are on ours.
Well, we employ bus monitors.
Okay.
For our preschool program.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, are there monitors through DATCO that we don't pay?
All of our special transportation vehicles have monitors on them. So one of the challenges is that because we employ them, if they call out sick in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, so we have a buffer that we build into it. But our preschool vehicles and our vehicles that have students whose needs rise to the level of needing a monitor, we have those to support them.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if they were DATCO's employees or ours. Okay, got it.
And those preschools are only for the 3-year-olds, the monitors? Because
Well,
I know
they're-
some children come on the regular buses, correct? 4-year-olds?
Some of the 4-year-olds do, but if a student's needs rise to the level of requiring the monitor, then we put the
Then you
monitor
have
on, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Second page, we went back to purchasing the uniform for the custodial crew versus the cleaning and uniforms and having and storing them and then cleaning every week. We save significantly. I think the guys like it better as well. They're all identified by school. They seem to be more comfortable than the other uniforms, so that worked out for us. We added a surcharge of 20% for building rentals for any costs associated with the, obviously the auditorium coming back online after the heating and cooling system is updated and the management system is done. That will come back online for rentals, so we can have further conversations about those monies, because the auditorium needs significant work. And those who toured the building with Tom, I think, had a really good idea of, you know, it's time to invest in that auditorium, or we're going to be in a similar situation to the old high school. CMT, we share utilities now for this building. In the past, we paid all of that. Vendor contracts, Cintas, we had a refund there. They had some billing errors that needed to be cleaned up, and we were able to receive that money back. New copy of contract in 23, which saves approximately $3,000 per month. Listed below are the expenditures, costs. Got an equipment grant for $25,000 from the state of Connecticut. Nutrition and Student Services, the breakfast program, 24-25 at the high school, in EIS this year. We collaborate with our sports teams on the concession stand between the cafeteria department and the athletic department for monies to go back into athletics to offset those costs. Game workers being paid by the gate receipts. We're going to do the athletic expenditures tonight as well. That was requested. So when we put the PowerPoint, we'll go through all of that. Moving along, payroll, attendance, and internal controls. Frontline tracking of accumulated pay times or balances. Preventing overuse of paid leave and saving the district thousands of dollars. More work with ASAP. And I identified 4.5 unpaid absences within 1 day of implementation, which is significant. Converted payroll deductions from paper checks to ACH, improving efficiency, reducing costs, ensuring timely deposits, staff attendance. These are all things that have gone through Martha's office to make it. The last page is Tom's tech page for replacement of devices, that cycle that we're on now. He mentioned at the last meeting how some of our computers are upwards of 7 or 8 years old, so we're looking to offset and start to move some of those out to retirement. New phone system, you've heard quite a bit about that. So, savings greater than 25,000, which is significant. The new elevator maintenance contractor, which are few and far between now. It's really hard to find elevator contractors now. Safety testing, the fact that there's some cost. The alarm system, Congress, hand in hand with the video and alarm, and obviously the telephone systems that we have. The goal of updating integrated systems at Jerome and Tucket, and renegotiated fire alarm monitoring, inspections and maintenance for 10,000. So that's another sheet you can take, and I just wanted to, for the record, read through that, so those watching at home have an idea. The PowerPoint that we added to tonight will be going online. So anything that we put up onto the screen, the public will be able to see. And then, as we discussed before, for communication and marketing, we're going to take out a section in the Tucket Times, and we'll put the PowerPoint, and we'll craft a letter, just breaking it down, simplifying it so it goes out to the public as well. Okay? So, that being said, for the handouts, we're going to go to the PowerPoint. Tom, is that my right cue? For you? If it wasn't, let me know. We turn off the lights and we can fall asleep. Fan on, you can fall asleep. Did you start? Of course. So, what we've been working on, and I have John here, we obviously did the walkthrough of all the buildings, including the auditorium. We're in the process of putting together a 5-year plan, but with the number of, obviously, things that we went through and identified, it's going to, in a perfect world, happen over 5 years. So for this budget cycle, we wanted to pick the highest priorities in a building and with food services. We went through all of the kitchens, we went through all of the buildings. Those who attended, everyone, I think they'll understand why we selected 2 projects at Tucket Valley. We spent a considerable amount of money replacing that gymnasium floor 2 years ago when we had water damage. I think John rented that floor for $180,000, approximately. So John had priced out an HVAC and upgrade to the heating system. So this number is really close to the estimate. And John, you want to speak anything to that?
Tucket Valley, as you know, is the 2 old home unit heaters. We don't have air conditioning in there. And in the summertime, we do get moisture in that gymnasium. We're afraid of having issues with our new gym floor. And the heating is not great in there in the winter. So I brought some contractors in, and our plan is to put an HVAC unit on the roof behind the gym, take down the old 2-unit heaters, and have capability to have air conditioning and heating out of that 1 unit that's going to be set on the roof behind it. We're going to use the vent holes that come through the existing walls already from the ductwork. We'll put new coils in there, so we'll have new heating capabilities, better heating capabilities, and we'll have air conditioning. So right now it's in the estimate stage because the town's gonna want an engineer, they're gonna want the structural engineer to make sure we can put it up on the roof, get all that together. But I did a walkthrough with 4 vendors to come up with a pretty good estimate of installing that unit and making a better, make that gym better to environment-wise, especially in the summer, because we're worried about that floor.
So John, when you looked at this last year, this was pretty close to a number that you were comfortable with?
That number right now, 250s,
Range.
kind of sitting there. The vendors kind of fluctuated, which you always get when you get 4 guys, you get a little high. So, it was down as low as 200, it was up as high as 300. We're kind of looking at kind of a middle range. The other 2 guys were somewhere around the 250 area. And
Okay.
so, when we get the heating engineer in, actually give us the exact, what we need and all that, and, have them quoted exactly for the town. But if we go capital and town puts it out, of course, when it hits the street, it's gonna be, prevailing wage, this and that, and of course, the price may fluctuate, but the bids will come in after we do a walkthrough with the town.
We wouldn't do the RFP for a capital project.
So the second piece, looking at all of the kitchens, and the priority to tuck it was the commercial range, the combination of it, and the dishwasher. Those are old. They've been there, a couple of them since day one. So that was our next highest priority with Christina, and looking at all of her buildings. So that was 65. Those are actual prices based upon replacement that she put out. So that's a real number. Okay. So just for clarification, with that 65 versus John's a much bigger project with the town being actively involved in that whole process. Okay? All right, so those are the 2 things, separate things that we're bringing forward. We're asking you to bring forward. Then over the 5-year plan, obviously if those get accepted for next year, they'll work off, and then we'll go through and reevaluate moving forward. All right? Grants we've already covered, so you want to hear the grants again? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Tom. Per pupil expenditure was a question that was asked. So if you look at the list that we had up the last time, for comparative for, no, sorry, it's okay. So you'll see where we're at 23,080. So what I did was, I did the entire state of Connecticut. I'm going to hand that to you, so I killed a lot of trees for this. That you have. So, I've said a number of times that, we're right around the 50th percentile, which we are. And some of the schools are not really realistic when you look at the expenditures for like a magnet school or others. Could you pass it to
Thank you,
me?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, when you look at like 13 or Madison or any of these that are $1,000 or more higher than what we are, when you look at our total number of pupils in the district, it's significant. So when people say, well, that's not that much of a, well, it is a difference when you look at, if we were to get the percentile of other districts, it would be in that 3 to 4% that we were looking at over the last several years. And this is another reason, that we've dug this hole. So there's the per pupil expenditure for the state of Connecticut and for the surrounding towns. I don't think there's anything on that, just so you have it. Okay. All right, the next piece, I'm going to have Miss Lee come forward, we're going to move the table up, and then, what? I think it is. I wanted to hide behind the table. So what we asked, Miss Conley was not able to be here this evening, and you want to sit, do it or you stand?
Oh, I can do it. I'll stand.
Stand?
I'm in my teacher mode.
Okay. So, Miss Lee spent a lot of time with Miss Conley to put this together, and we wanted it to be as comprehensive. She had a real understanding of what it takes for a high school / middle school athletic program. So with that being said, she'll go through it, and then any questions that you have, you certainly feel free to jump right in. Ms. Lee.
All right, well, I'm really excited about the opportunity to talk to you about athletics today. And I know Ms. Conley would love to be here and share in that, but she and I collaborated well, so I'm going to hopefully do her honor here. So, all right, good to go. All right, so we have a really proud tradition of athletics at North Branford High School. This is, several decades of this. We have 450 students in our high school right now, and we have had 506 students, or 506 athletic participants across 3 seasons. The reason why that number is higher than the number of students we have is because some students play multiple sports. So that just gives you a picture of really how involved our students are in the programs.
So we've said before about co-oping sports, and we've been very fortunate to be able to self-sustain in our team sports. But we've also given students the opportunity to play with the surrounding town and go and participate. You'll look at some of the sports and we'll walk you through that. Or we've done one-man teams here at North Branford.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Ms. Lee.
Oh, sorry. So we have, those are the sports that we offer every season. The only thing I want to point out is that our unified sports, that is a year-long commitment that students do. That's our students with disabilities and our like peers that work with them, and they go to different sporting events throughout the state. If you'll notice the little asterisk there, that's a co-op team. So I thought it'd be really helpful for you guys to see as we're going through the difference between those two. It shows the depth of different types of teams that we can offer to our students, even though we are a small district. So our girls diving, for example, is a co-op team, as well as our boys hockey and our girls hockey. What that looks like is you have area schools that come together to form one giant team. Giants. That is one giant, they're 20-ish students. And what they'll do is they'll work as one, so they'll be united under all of the names of the schools. Our co-op, or our collaborative program is a little bit different. So our gymnastics is a great example of a collaborative. We have one athlete who actually works with the Madison, the hand gymnastics team. She practiced with them, she's coached by them, but when she does competition, she wears a singlet and North Branford leotard just for her. She's not able to compete in the team events, like state tournaments and that, but she can compete as an individual. So each of them offer different benefits, and what you're going to see is cost-wise, it's significantly less expensive for us to run a co-op team or a collaborative team, generally speaking, because we are using coaching staff from other spaces. Any questions so far about it? All right, so our main budget drivers are going to be our contracted stipends, which we'll talk about, transportation, equipment, officials, rental fees, dues and fees that are different from those rental fees, and then our game workers. One thing I want to note is that contracted stipends come out of a different budget line than our transportation, equipment, and officials. That's under the umbrella of athletics, but I just think it's important for you to see sort of what goes into that whole program. I'll just keep giving you a thumbs up. All right, so you're going to see in the next 3 slides for fall, for winter, and spring, just a breakdown of the individual sports that happen in each season. And I left the definitions for co-op and collaborative on the bottom for you in case you need to reference them. What you'll see for each sport is how many head coaches and how many assistant coaches we have. You'll notice for football, for example, 1 head coach, 3 assistant coaches. That's because the program itself is larger and requires that. Usually that's based off of supervision. You'll see in that line for total contracted stipends, that's how much the total contract would be for all of your head coaches and then all of your assistant coaches combined. So the total cost to have coaches and supervision for these sports. Past season enrollment, so for the fall, that is how many students that we have. That'll give you the total cost and then the cost per athlete that we have. So that might also give you a sense of how expensive each individual sport is for us to run.
Why is cross country so expensive?
Because we have a head coach, so they have their sponsor there, and then we also have fewer students. So you only have 4 cross-country athletes right now. So cost per athlete looks very high. One thing I do want to know, and I know Ms. Walsham could agree, that we have a really good feeder program that's happened with cross-country, so we're going to see that grow and develop over time for sure. And then this is our winter sports. So as you can see, we actually have more co-op, more collaborative work that's happening. So the total contracted stipend amount is less, and our co-op and collaborative fees are lower. relatively speaking. And that 1.5 for assistant coaches, that is a stipend that is split between two individuals.
We actually, for boys basketball, have a freshman team.
Yep.
So that .5 goes to that third team. It's amazing that a school of our size has a freshman team. They're pretty much non-existent now. In many surrounding towns, freshman sports have gone away because of enrollment, lack of enrollment.
So so you have a coach and you have a team.
So they'll play multiple teams either twice or 3 times, or
Gotcha.
teams out of our conference,
Gotcha.
so we can find games.
I just noticed that wrestling was co-ed.
It just happens to happen at the same time. So they're not competing. Well, actually, we do have a female athlete that is so good that she does compete against boys occasionally. So
And wins.
yeah, she's fantastic.
Good on her.
Yeah.
She's really good.
And then our spring sports, this is our busiest season at the high school. We've got lots of a variety of sports and a really high level of involvement. So we're looking forward to that. And these are numbers from last season, but I anticipate that they're going to be relatively the same.
Okay?
All right. So just to give you an overview of total stipend and coaching supervision costs, our athletic director stipend, and just as a note, she, in addition to being the athletic director, teaches 2.5 classes. It's $16,000 for a 10-month stipend. All the coaching stipends combined are right under $250,000, and our co-op and club fees are $2,600. So that's the total cost for supervision and for coaching to maintain our sports programs.
We are one of the only towns in the Shoreline Conference that does not have a full-time athletic director.
Yes.
In many of those towns, they were part of the administrative regime. So to have an AD that teaches 2.5 classes, including an AP class, and is a 3-sport coach, that's a lot of hats to wear.
All right, so other budget drivers that we have, just sort of numbers to share with you. Transportation costs, that's to and from games. That's going to be $131,000, and that's roughly 31% of the entire athletic budget. So just to give you a picture of that.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
For the co-op, how does that work for the buses?
Well, it depends on, you're talking about students getting to practice and things like that?
No, like to games.
Oh,
Like, if
so-
they're- like, do we help pay for, like, we have a kid in North Branford that's going to a different school to compete. Do we stipend some of the busing for them to get to the games?
So I'll give you an example for hockey, that they would leave from the rink. So we wouldn't bus them from their school to the rink necessarily, they would share in the bus with our students as well. So it wouldn't be, they have to provide their own transportation to practice and things like that.
Right, but to the games, like if we have a co-op, let's say, like when Ava was doing soccer, it was HK, right? So if HK has to, like we have to go, we're all one team, we meet at a school, how do the students from, let's say, HK pay for, like, are we paying for the busing with the co-op?
Gotcha.
We don't pay. The sending school that
Yes.
sends the athletes is responsible for their
Yeah.
transportation.
Okay, so if we have like 3 kids that are in a co-op at a different school, they take care of the transportation, we don't have to stipend.
It's a
The
flat fee,
receiving,
yeah.
the sending school would take care of the transportation.
Okay.
So, and then we would pay a small fee, which would incorporate that into it. So I think for like gymnastics, I think we pay $500,
Yeah, just a flat fee that covers all of the
covers
expenses
that.
for
And then
them.
hockey, I know the kids that come in from the Shoreline,
Yeah.
because of expense, they pay $1,500 to play with us.
Okay,
So we break it down by the number of kids, the rental fees, transportation, and then they
so
have to pay.
transportation,
Yeah,
okay.
it's included.
And that can be adjusted, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit later about hockey and how that's going to be adjusted next year because we need to recoup some more funds, and so that's going to change.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sorry.
No, of
No,
course.
these
That's a good
questions.
Equipment costs, so just about $100,000, which is 23% of the budget, this is reconditioning of equipment, any athletic supplies, balls and sticks for practice, goals, things like that, and then also uniforms. This is, it can be variable. This is where, when we do have to make cuts, this is sometimes where cuts will come from. I'll give you a great example. Our field hockey team, they have uniforms that still have the old T-bird and the old logo on them. So those are the types of things that we can put off for so many years, but, you know, we do get to a point where we have to recoup that. And different teams cost for equipment and also uniforms, they vary. If you're going to have a football team that needs new uniforms, we've got 50 students versus cross-country needing new jerseys, that's very different. So, you know, I know Ms. Connolly is really, really mindful about that. She has a rotation system, but, you know, when cuts come, that tends to be one of the first places that it happens.
So we currently have 3 teams right now that were due to get new uniforms this year that didn't because of the budget. So we're waiting to see the activity fee total when it comes in, and if there's any monies over the number for the sports that kids play, we're going to take that towards the 3 teams for uniforms.
And which teams are those?
I know one is field hockey that we just mentioned.
Field hockey, volleyball, and then also potentially football if that may come next year.
Volleyball is girls, right?
Yes, yeah, we do not have men's volleyball.
Yeah.
Do they buy their own sticks for field hockey?
Sticks and armies.
Yeah. Spend a lot of money on
Yeah.
lacrosse sticks, baseball bats. Crazy.
All right, so officials, referees at games, up to $60,000. Again, that's 15% of the budget. And there are specific expectations. Every, you know, a basketball game has to have a certain type of official, certain number, and it varies across sports.
If we win, we pay them a little more.
All right, so total rental fees, $46,800. That's 11% of our budget. That is primarily for hockey rental of the rink. It also includes a very small fee in case our tennis team needs to practice indoors. And so I mentioned this before, and Tom, if you hit the button there. In 25-26, we have $7,500 coming in from our co-op players, as Scott mentioned, $1,500 per player. Next year, Ms. Connolly is reorganizing that and hoping to split the rental cost with participating schools, so that's going to vary. We're budgeting for the amount that we did this year because we don't know how many returning students we have from the co-op coming. We don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know what the rental fees are, but know that that will hopefully help to offset some costs. Dues and fees, so we are required to pay into CIAC, which is, you know, the governing body of all sports, CAD, which is the athletic director group. The Shoreline Conference is $3,000. I have that asterisk because, again, that comes out of the general, our building budget, but it is an important part and a necessary part of the athletic budget. Other league dues that occur for different leagues, like the Pequot League that our football team is in. And then tournament fees are variable, and that's what makes up the bulk of the budget there. That's any time that we enter into a state tournament, you have to pay a fee for that. Cheerleading team wants to do a competition, there's an entry fee. Invitationals for cross-country, those can be pretty high in terms of expense. That's where the higher amounts come from in there. So we might pay less for, like busing, they have fewer meets, but the meets themselves might cost more money. So that's why it evens out ultimately. All right, so our game workers, the people that we have running the games, is about $10,000. That's 2% of our athletic budget. And I did a little bit of a breakdown just so you can understand how much we're paying out for them and then how much we receive back from league monies. So just as a note, all sporting events are staffed. So no matter what the sporting event is, we always have staff there, and there are, per sport, certain requirements that we need to have. But not all sporting events are ticketed. So some bring money in and some do not.
Everyone understands ticketed?
All right, so the ones that are ticketed that we will get money from our football is our biggest driver of funds, and then any night games in the fall on Colifatti Field, that's our football field, field hockey, boys and girls soccer. Winter, our hockey program, girls and boys basketball as well as fencing, which we have going on tonight, which is usually really well attended by other schools. And then spring, night games on Colifatti Fields, our boys and our girls lacrosse. Other sports, for a variety of reasons, are not ticketed. We also receive the first round of any state tournament. If it is a home game, we receive money for that. If it is beyond that first round, the CIAC will get funds for that. Our football game, the big playoff game that we had in December, great, well attended. The CIAC received the money from that, from the gate. We do not receive that. So there are spaces where we do then have to host games and have game workers on, but we don't always receive the funds for that.
The state reimburses us for the cost of our staffing at the game, the referees and our employees. It's a set amount, and for the most part, you'll see with football what it costs us just to run a game.
Yeah.
we're already losing money with what comes through the gate with our costs going out the door.
And these are our two higher tier in terms of expense to run the games themselves. What you'll notice with football, we have an ambulance there, that's a really important part of that. And then we have 2 officers and their fee is high. We also have security, site coordinators, the chain crew, those are things that are required of a football game to run that. Hockey, we have fewer people that we have to have, but we still have that police. There's lots of doors that people try to sneak into, so we have lots of staff that are around that help to support that as well. So we want to make sure that we have that so that we can recoup that game money.
The police control how many uniformed officers are at these events. We have no say, and they have the authority to shut down a game or a rink if there's police that aren't there. So if we say, oh, can't we just have 2 police, and they know it's a rival town coming to play, we have no say. And it's contractual to their rank and what they make per 4-hour minimum. So it's expensive, but we don't have any control over that. And there's times, I mean, I don't want to pick on hockey, but it can get spirited.
It's necessary. It's necessary.
So you want to make sure that you have people there that can control the emotional highs and lows. All right.
And then these are our 2 other types of events we run, but you can see that they're less expensive, and then we tend to net some money from them. Again, this is all approximate, so it could be more, it could be a little bit less. Basketball has more specific officials to book the shot clock, but field hockey is your more traditional event where we usually can net a good amount of money from that, and those are pretty well attended as well.
I'm sorry, who's security at those events? Are they our security?
It can be. It's also staff members that come and help support. It's really, I think it's a really great thing that we have, because when our students are maybe a little bit boisterous, more so than we want them to be, it's somebody that they know that's having a conversation with them. Something is out of hand. If I'm not there, then we can address that really quickly the next day. So it's good for the connection, I think. But yes, it's our school staff.
We probably have 7 staff members that rotate through for different events.
Yep.
And they're great because they stand with the kids. And obviously if it's a rival game and our kids know our staff and our staff knows our kids, they really can keep them under control, which works out really well. And when you look at, $75, they have to get there before the start and then until it clears. So they may be there 4 or 5 hours, which 4 or 5 hours, which if you break it down, it's really
Less than minimum wage,
Yes.
don't tell them that.
Especially when it gets really cold and we're outside. And then just so far, we've had about $4,000 that have returned to the athletic budget from concessions last year. And so most of the concessions that happen at sporting events are booster-based club for the sports themselves. But at the football game, we do have cafeteria staff, safe serve people that are working, but we have to make sure that we're paying them a wage and that there's obviously offset. So it's money coming back. It's not a huge amount, and we're appreciative of it, but it isn't something that is overwhelming in terms of offsetting too many costs. And that's it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So,
I have a question. Do you want to go first?
Judy, do you have a question?
Okay, yeah. I'm curious about fundraisers and donations.
Sure.
I know that some groups have booster clubs that, work to make money. That was one of the things that I was hoping to, this is amazing, first of all, thank you, because that was a ton of work, but it helps us to understand, where that money is, because it's not easy to see always in the budget. But I do know that there are groups that have people that fundraise for them and give donations, and I'm just curious to know, I'm not going to ask you to go find all those numbers, which I'm sure you're happy to hear, but I would be interested to know about how much is coming in from outside groups that are giving money to the groups that are not getting money from our budget, if that makes sense, because it does impact our budget when people give money, well-intentioned, but that's money that we should really be supplying for certain
An example
things.
of that would be,
Uniforms or,
Ms. Lee mentioned the football uniforms.
right,
So for a period of time right now, there's a vendor that's giving 2 for 1. So you would buy your home jersey and get your away jersey, and they give you a discount to do our 55 player team, it would be about 16,500, which is, it's significant, but it's half price.
Right.
So a parent called me and said, hey, can we fundraise for this through our touchdown club? I'm interested in doing it. And that's separate from the Board of Education. If they wanted to do their thing and help to offset the cost and do that, that's significant. To do the field hockey team, it's about $3,000. So, you know, it adds up. And that's, you know, getting to, you know, talk about these things to offset. You know, districts around us are accepting tuition now for kids that come from other towns. And they have criteria for them to come in. They vet them, and then the parents can either pay a one-time fee or pay monthly. And that's something that, you know, as we get into really difficult financial times, we have to be creative. And if, you know, if that's something that, you know, we want to talk about, I could get some data from surrounding schools that are doing it and share how they're doing it and what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm appreciative of the people that want to help. I don't
Sure.
mean it that way, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is when we think about our budget, if that's $16,000 that we would have paid, it helps us, but it goes on that list of things that are happening to help our budget. I guess that's where I was coming from.
Well, yeah, when they,
You know, that-
they give us the 16,500. I get a lot of phone calls that.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
though?
no,
I mean,
yeah.
it's important for us to realize as a board and for the public to know that that
Sure.
money is really our responsibility, and if it's a gift to us, that's wonderful. But
Right.
the next time, they may not be there to give that money, so we have to consider that.
Right.
And I think most of the fundraising is, you know, for the cost of the banquet, or
Yeah.
I know like certain teams will collect money at the onset from all families for like sandwiches after the games, like it's those little extra things, but I agree with you about that.
It's the frills.
Yeah, the
And it's
warm-ups.
the banquet at the end of the year, the trophies,
The wedding,
paying for
the
the
wedding.
kids. Well, they do them very
They do
memorable,
them all,
nice.
yeah.
They give them
They do.
photographs and
I
they
know.
make it really special. But, you know, we're charging $125 per student athlete right now. If I run cross country and I have a pair of sneakers in the top and the bottom, I'm paying $125.
Right.
If I play another sport in the winter, another $125, I'm at $250. Then my student fee at the high school is $30. So now I'm at $280 to do 2 sports and pay my club fees.
I hear you.
It's,
It's,
we don't want to be doing this. This is not something that, you know, any of us at the table is excited about. But that's $71,000 right there. That's a teacher.
Is that what the pay to play is? When you like tally up all that money for the pay and play? Do you-
So our 71,000 was our goal for this year. We're hoping we reach that. No one gets refused the opportunity to participate. Free and reduced lunch students are charged 50%, and if they can't, that's no charge.
So if we wanted to get rid of that fee, where can we?
Well, you have to cut the budget by 71,000 for this year. I don't know what it would be next year. It all depends what number we select.
Because I just feel like that's extremely high, especially if you have kids in multiple sports.
We cap it.
I don't
It's
think any of
capped
us
by
disagree with
family.
you.
And you'd be surprised, a lot of
I don't
districts,
think any of us disagree with you.
and a lot of towns are doing it. A lot of towns have gone to participation fees for the same reason.
Are our fees higher than other towns, you know, or?
No, the ones that I've spoken with are like $50 to $75 higher. Some of them are, you know, 2 something per sport.
Yeah. Is there like a different tax bracket with the other towns that you talk to, or?
No, I mean, they vary. I mean, I guess I could query, you know, find out specifically like I did for pupil and find out what towns are charging, and
Yeah.
I could do that.
Because I just find that, and I mean, especially if you.
I can tell you, 125 is not high for people I've talked to. It seems high, but if we cap ours, you know, depending upon if you have multiple kids in the family in different schools, there is a cap that you can go over.
And then what this money goes for, is it?
Raise the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, so it offsets.
So offsets all
Yeah,
this that we talked about
yeah,
last week.
yeah. That's why we did it. That's why if we get anything over that, it'll go towards those uniforms. Any questions, sports related, or with that presentation?
Not so much
Thank you
question,
again, that was very informative, thanks.
but more of like a comment or concern. My concern is, and I know, I understand it's a tough budget, but not having the late bus, like Ms. Lee said, we're seeing growth from track, from middle school to high school. We're trying to build these programs. But now we have all these students who can't do these. So I'm really curious to see from a parent standpoint in our community and from the administrators, at the end of this year, the decline or incline that we've seen for participation. So that's my
Due
curiosity.
to the transportation?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing, it's, not every town has late buses. It's a nice luxury to have.
It is.
And we were very, that was a hard decision, it was $45,000. That's real money, and we had to make real hard decisions with pay to participate, late bus, a number of things. So I understand what you're saying, but we certainly,
It's hard. It is
Yeah.
hard for a parent. And it's hard to look at our kids and say, we're sorry, we can't do it for you because there's no ride for you home. So I will say for the second year in a row, I would really like to see the late bus put back in the budget. And I'm not the only one.
No, we tried to keep.
I will say it every year.
And we've heard it from each of the administrators as well, so it's not
They
just a
support
personal
it.
preference.
They do.
It's what we've heard from
So
all
I
of
have
you
to
as
say
well.
okay, that's it for what we were asked to bring. So we have another budget meeting scheduled if you feel that we need it.
We do? No, we only had these two.
No, we only have two. We just have two.
Oh, I thought we were,
No.
do you want a third one?
No.
I don't know if we have anything to talk
It's
about.
not changing any of the numbers, it's very
No.
depressing.
So, you could make a motion tonight, or you can wait till the board meeting, which is next Thursday, it's up to you.
I mean, we gotta rip off the Band-Aid at some point. Do we wanna just make a motion tonight?
To approve the budget
And capital,
and capital?
both.
So we just did the two-tucket for the capital. That's the
Yeah,
only one
that-
that you
that was-
put forward.
$315,000. It's just that.
Just.
So,
I know, but there
Just.
was, we did the other buildings.
we didn't get any capital last year. So we're asking for $315,000 this year. I don't know if we're gonna get $315,000.
But we
Just be
have,
honest.
but we have two good projects, and we,
Yeah.
as a board, and with John's assistance,
Prioritize.
have really taken kind of the bull by the horns, I guess, for lack of a better, to go and visit schools and to see what the need is. I personally had no idea of the things in our buildings that really were going to require, some things to be done in a fairly great manner. So I think that we're making that list, that 5-year plan. We've got our two first priorities that we feel confident and comfortable with. And I feel good about moving forward with those two. And we asked for the HVAC, I believe, last year.
We did.
But we didn't get it. So having that as priority one, I think makes perfect sense to me.
Well, we've invested a lot of money in that gym pool.
Right.
And if the humidity, if it buckles again, we're right back into having to cut, remove, replace, parts of that floor. So it needs to be done.
I think that was our number one priority last year.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just want to say one thing, and then we can decide if we're going to have a vote tonight. So I look back at the last 6 years of budgets that we requested and appropriations that we received. And what I did was I took the monies that we asked for and the monies that were approved from the town. And we had asked for, over the 6 years, an increase, a total of all of them, of $8,800,000 and a little bit. What we got was $1,916,000 over 6 years, which actually represents a decrease of 4.25%. So I don't know that math is not faulty, but the numbers are correct. But the way I'm thinking of it is that in the last 6 years, we're in a negative if you look at what we needed and what we received. And I really feel like when you look at the numbers of what we've asked for each year, increasing, and those percentages increasing, that it's actually due to the fact that for the last several years, we've been trying to, make do with the money that we received. And, I know people will say, well, you made do with it. Well, we didn't really make do with it.
We
let
eliminated
staff
positions,
go.
yeah.
And so, I think at this point, I'm feeling confident to move forward. I would not want to make a cut from what has been presented to us to make an arbitrary cut to an arbitrary number. And I really feel that if we need the 7.09 and those two capital projects I feel comfortable with, I don't think we need to make a cut now just to be arbitrarily cutting our budget. We did that last year and it really didn't help us very much. So I feel like we could move forward with the numbers that we have and then kind of wait and see what the town, is going to look at overall with all of them. But
I'm willing to make a
that's my
motion.
position.
I'm willing to make the motion.
I mean, if it doesn't pass, we could talk again
Right.
at the meeting.
Yeah,
Did you have
I think there has to be some discussion. This is so hard. I don't know.
I think the schools already came to us with their cuts, and I can't imagine where else we're cutting at this point. Arbitrary, like you said, to
If we cut
arbitrarily
something
cut.
right now, we're cutting staff right now. We're cutting, if we lower our number, we're cutting security, we're cutting staff, we're cutting
Programs.
stuff right away, right off the bat.
Every 1% is $300,000.
It doesn't hurt us to ask for this amount. Town
It's-
council
it's
comes
status
back lower,
quo.
they come back lower.
I think, I'm hoping through hearing from the administrative team, from looking at historical data on what we've received over the last 10 years, 7% didn't just happen. 7% is the result of us bailing out with a 2% account. That's what we've done every year. We've relied on that for at least 2% of the budget. We've gone backwards in staffing. We've re-implemented the participation fee. So all of those things collectively, that's why the number's at 7.01. So, hopefully you all understand how we got to where we're at. It's, so anything that is reduced is, we go back as an administrative team and we start removing things.
Remember, there's nothing new in this budget.
There's no new staff,
Clearly
there's no
see where the
new...
increases are. There are contractual increases for salary, benefits, and transportation. And if you add those three things up, those three increases are actually higher than the increase that we're asking for. Because if you look down those numbers, you'll see we've decreased in other areas already.
We put forth a status quo budget last year, and we didn't get that. So that's my fear, is that we put forth a status quo budget and we won't get it.
Well,
it
we
doesn't matter
may
what
not,
you
but
put
it's
forward.
responsible of us to put
You believe
forth
it.
what we need. That's
I
our
believe it.
responsibility.
I believe
You
it.
know, do we think we're gonna get this? No, but I feel like that's my responsibility as a board member, because that's what
Ask
we
for
need.
what we need.
Right, there's no wish on here, there's no nothing. These
Don't
are,
second guess and don't.
There's no late bus, there's no STEM, there's no K-8 math coordinator, there's no new technology positions there's nothing new. We're saying, as a board, we're just driving forward with everything we have right now, with no changes. The only changes are 4 contractual obligations. The teachers, we already finished, we know what their percentile was. We're going in with 3 other groups and we're guesstimating what those are gonna be. That's what's driving the budget. So anything we take out, it's gonna be personnel. There's nothing else.
Our teachers alone are an increase of $538,000.
it's almost
Over
2%.
So anything that we get lower than that is immediate. To me, it's devastating.
Yes.
Right.
It's devastating. So, again, I just feel like we need to say what we need, and then it'll be up to Scott to present for us, and hopefully some parents will show up and voice their concerns, and we'll just have to take it from there. You can't second guess what's going to happen in the next steps, and I just believe we need to be a united front moving forward to say, this is what we're asking for, and it's reasonable as far as what our history has shown.
I think it's reasonable based off of the history and everything that's been presented makes complete sense. My concern is that normally when we do present, last year even, when we presented status quo, they flat out said, I mean, it just wasn't, they felt that we didn't do our job and to tear it apart more to try to actually make, realistic cuts, right?
Yes, but I don't know that that was an accurate depiction of what we did. And I personally feel very confident in my decision as a board member, and if someone wanted to ask me why I voted for this or whatever, I have no problem having that conversation with them. Because again, I'm not going to make an arbitrary cut just to say we made a cut. If I felt there was places in here that could be cut, I'd be the first one to say it, I would be. But I just don't see that. I've gone through it like several times, and I just don't see that there are areas that I could say, well, that's a place we don't need that. That's just
We
where.
presented to the communication committee last week. We're presenting this again tomorrow night to them. There's nothing that they're not aware of. They're getting the same information that you're getting. They're getting all of the questions. They're getting the entire PowerPoint. They have the ability to come to these meetings. They have the ability to do the liaison, ask questions. So there's total transparency. And that's what we're looking to put out there with the Tutucket Times and with what we're doing. In hindsight, looking back at last year, when we put our number in, we got less than 1%. And we're never going to compare department to department, but we took a huge hit last year.
We did.
And we're at a point where we keep saying the bending, but the breaking point
It's here. It's here.
Your class sizes, I'm just being honest with you, your participation fees we're going to have to go up significantly. We have to find the money somewhere. We have to find it somewhere. And you look at your pie chart of what that budget is. That, when we talk about $150 per classroom to get for spending for the year, everyone frowns at that. That's where we're at. And teachers are spending with their own money, to offset that. That's where we're at. Our transportation, we're trying to get some help there, but we have to run those buses, we have to fuel them, and we're obligated to do that. We have to honor the bargaining units and the medical for those who take it. We have no choice there. Security, well, we can talk about security.
We also heard last week too, from some of the administrators, if we cut staff, what our classes are gonna look like. And having, 32?
If I lose an English or math teacher, then
Yeah.
somebody has to take the whole grade.
I mean,
Your elementary will be and programs at the high school, things that you have to look at.
And I hate to take those programs away. I mean, our kids are doing, our high school students graduating, they're going on and doing what they wanted to do. They're doing great things. I mean,
Did we add any new programs last year?
We've
Yeah.
introduced.
not yours.
Hold on. Yeah, 0.59%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing.
I think the town council they've signed off on the contracts, they know what our increases are, and we have listened to all of our administrators, not just the principals, but also Dr. Welch with what they're gonna cut in curriculum, and they are coming to us with a bare bones amount that they can work with, and I just don't see where else we cut. And I think it's our due diligence to bring this to town council with the good faith of what they presented to us and see what we get.
And fight for the kids.
If
I
we
mean,
go lower,
that's the role of the board, is to fight for the kids. Whatever the council does, they're going to do. You don't control that. Whatever number they feel comfortable with putting forward to the taxpayers, we don't have any control of that. But I'm looking at you saying, if you believe in what we presented here, just moving what we have forward, then it should be, I don't know, I think it should be an easy choice. They're going to control, they're going to do their what they have to do. That's their responsibility. But someone has to fight for the kids.
I will do it. I'll be more than happy to make a motion to bring forth a budget of $36,520,142, which represents a 7.09 increase in our budget, as well as $315,000 in capital projects to the town council.
Second.
All right, taking any discussion, anyone want to say anything else about the budget? We've had comments already. Is there anyone who wants to say anything else?
Keep our fingers crossed, maybe it'll be our year.
Forever the optimist over there.
I mean,
Okay.
it's worth a shot.
All in favor?
No, you want to do a roll call.
Oh, to do a roll call.
I would.
Roll call. Roll call. Chairman Bondi's? Yes. Vice Chair Dalton?
I don't,
Can pass. Are you saying something?
She's saying she doesn't know. She's give her a
Can I
minute.
write that? She doesn't know.
Have you ever done that before?
I don't think you want that in a minute.
I don't think I want that.
You can pass and be last.
Okay, pass and be last.
She can pass, and then you go back to
Yes,
it.
yes,
go back
She can
to it.
pass.
She's gonna pass. come
You'll go back to her at the end.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Judy Bannon?
Yes.
Carol Candelora?
Yeah. It's just so hard.
That's a
It is
yes.
hard. It is hard.
That's a yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes.
We just would have to moderate, like, how many times?
Just a couple.
Is this because I missed the meeting?
Sorry, yes.
You didn't think it was going to be easy, did you?
No, it's so hard. I'll say yes. It doesn't matter at this point.
It's passed.
It's passed, yeah.
Yes?
so.
You're still passing?
She's saying
No,
yes.
she said yes. She said yes because it's passing anyways. She's being very soft-spoken over there.
Doesn't matter.
May I just say before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you again to everyone that was able to give us information. I feel like this was the best budget presentation that I've had as a board member. I mean,
I agree.
I feel like I have so much more knowledge than I've had the other 2 years, so thank you. I know it was a lot to put on your plates to get all that together, but it was greatly appreciated. And shows that we've been very, very responsible when we came together to make the budget.
And I think we can honestly say, yes, we know these numbers in here. Yes, we understand these numbers.
Yes,
Yes, we know what we voted for. Yes.
Absolutely.
What is the
That has-
date that we're presenting to the council?
Tomorrow.
No, I mean.
Okay.
No, I don't think we have that yet. I don't think they set
I
the date.
understand. We're having communications tomorrow night. They're going to get everything, so the entire council will have everything that you have tomorrow night.
Yes.
And then we will get dates for when they're going to present by department and when they expect us to go in the spring.
This
So
has
we'll
to
get-
go to town hall by February 28th. Our budget has to be in town hall by
Right.
February 28th.
But we won't go into the spring.
Yeah. And then budget and operations
Yes.
should meet again before,
Yes.
so we can talk about the presentation and all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we can do a similar thing.
We can give you a little run for your money.
I look forward to it.
Challenge
We
accepted.
can play devil's advocate.
So just, so you know, the Tucket Times coming up, next edition will be highlights from the school. The administrators did a wonderful job accentuating all the great things that are going on. And then the following one will be our budget slideshow and a letter from us. Okay?
Our next meeting, next week.
Next Thursday.
Is next Thursday, what the date is, I don't have that on my agenda. Today's, 19th.
19th.
Our next meeting is the 19th.
I don't think there's anybody here for public comment.
Public comment, so.
Yeah. They've said enough. All right?
We're adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Scott, can we get that power?
Out of control now.